Miss Bentley's mom, Miss Bowis, and today we're going to go over Chapter 10, Lesson 5, the area of a pyramid. Now, some people get triangular prisms or prisms mixed up with pyramids. Now, the difference between what we were doing before, which are prisms, is there's two bases. So there'd be a triangle here and a triangle here, and then there'd be like three rectangles connecting those two triangles. But with a pyramid, there's only one base, like this, okay? And it could be a square, it could be a rectangle, it could be a triangle. There's different bases that it could be. And then there's sides that come off of those, and you see how these are all triangles that come off of the square, and they come to a point. Okay, so with the pyramid, and you can picture the pyramids of Egypt, there's one base at the bottom, and then these are called lateral faces. The word lateral means sides, and the faces come to a point up here, okay, which is different from having a square here and another square base here, okay? So in this pyramid, you can see that there's going to be a base that's a square, and then there's going to be four triangles off of that, okay? And that's what we'll be doing today. Okay, so I'm on example 1. It says, find the surface area of the pyramid. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is do the base. Okay, and if you look at the picture, it says 7 centimeters and 7 centimeters. Okay, so we're going to do base times height. So the area of the base is 49. Okay, and then we're going to do the area of all the lateral faces, which are triangles. So the area for that is 1/2 base times height. And it's going to be 1/2. This is 7 and this is 9. So 1/2 times 7 times 9. Okay, you can put this in your calculator, 0.5 times, and you know 7 times 9 is 63. And you get 31.5. But when there's a square like this, remember how many of these triangles are coming off the base? There's 4. So we're going to take this 31.5 and we're going to multiply it by 4. Okay, and that will give us all the sides. Now, the reason we can multiply this by 4 is because they're all the same. This is a square. Okay, so all these measurements are the same, so it's going to be the same triangle 4 times. So we do that and we get 126. Okay, and then to find the surface area, you just have to add the base with all the lateral faces, and you get 126 plus 49, and we get 175. And it's going to be squared centimeters because it's area. Okay, that's example 1. Now turn the page, example 2. I'm on page 785. Okay, example 2. Now this one is called a triangular prism. The bottom is not a square, it's actually a triangle. So if you look at the bottom of this one, okay, this is example 2. And it kind of draws it out for you, but it shows that this is 4 feet, and the height right here is 3.5. Okay, so this is the base. So we're going to do, because it's a triangle, we have to use the area for triangle, which is 1/2 base times height. So we're going to do 1/2 times 4 times 3.5. 1/2 of 4 is 2. And 2 times 3.5 is 7. Okay, so that's our base. Now we're going to do the lateral faces. Okay, so these are the lateral faces. Okay, and it looks like this. And this is 4, but this is 5. So we're going to do the area of a triangle, which is 1/2 base times height. So we have 1/2. The base is 4, and the height is 5. So we take half of 4, which is 2, and 2 times 5 is 10. Now, this is different than when a square was the base, because when there's a triangle at the bottom, there's only 3 sides. So off of those 3 sides comes only 3 triangles, not 4. Okay, so depending on whatever the base is, if the base is a triangle, it's going to have 3 lateral sides. If it's a quadrilateral, a square, it's going to have 4, etc. If it's a hexagon, it's going to have 6. So you have to look at your base, and that's how many sides are going to come up. So we have 10. That's just for 1. but there's 3 because it's a triangle base. So we're going to do 10 times 3 and we get 30. Okay, and then we're going to add those two for the total surface area. And we get 37 and it's feet, so it's going to be in squared feet. Okay, now turn the page. Let's do some guided practice. So this is the guided practice. Okay, I'm going to do 2 problems on this. We'll do number 1. Okay, so I'm going to look for my base of my pyramid, and I'm going to see what shape it is. And I look at it, and it's a square. Okay, and this is 4, and this is 4. So to find the area of this base, I do base times height, 4 times 4, and I get 16. Okay, that's my base. Now off of that, because the base is a square like this, I'm going to have 4 different triangles. Okay, so, and those are called lateral faces. So here's what it looks like. And this is 4, and the height of the triangle is 5. So a formula for a triangle is 1/2 base times height. 1/2 of 4 is 2. 2 times 5 is 10. And there's going to be, let's see, 4 of those. So, let's see, do I have the right one here? I think, you know what, I can't tell if this is a 5 or a 6 on my copy. So I'm doing it as a 5, but if it's a 6, if you have a better copy and you can tell, then use 6. It looks to me like it's a 5, so I'm just going to do it this way. So 2 times 5 is 10, and then there's 4 of these, so I'm going to multiply this by 4, and I get 40. Then I'm going to add the 2 surface areas, and I get 16 plus 40 is 56, and it's in inches, so inches squared. Okay, and then if this was a 6, you would just take half of 4, which is 2, and 2 times 6, it would be 12, and then you would do 12 times 4 and get 48, and then add the 48 to the 16. So I can't tell on my copy, so sorry about that, but either way, this is the setup. Okay. Now, I want you to notice that we multiplied this one by 4 because the base was a quadrilateral that had 4 sides. If this was a triangle, we'd only multiply this one by 3. Okay, so you have to first identify what the base is. Is it a triangular pyramid, or is it a square pyramid? What kind of pyramid is it? And you name the pyramid by whatever the shape of the base is. Okay, if it's a hexagon, you'd say it's a hexagonal pyramid. We're not doing other polygons, we're just doing triangular and square bases. So, okay, so let's do number 3. Okay, I'm on the guided practice. Okay, I'm first going to look at my period. I'm going to decide if the base is a triangle or a square. And I look at this, and the base is a triangle. So, here's my base. So I'm going to do 1/2 base times height. And I'm going to do 1/2 times the base, which is 5, and then the height is 4.3. So if I pulled this out, this is 4.3 here, and this is 5. Okay, and that's on the bottom of the picture. Okay, and then 1/2 times 5 times 4.3, and you can put that in your calculator, is 10.75. Okay, that's the area of the base. Now off of that, you're going to have 3 triangles coming up to a point. Okay, so these are called the lateral faces. Okay, and lateral is kind of like saying the sides are coming up. So for this one, let's see, we have, looks like this is 5 and this is 6. So we're going to have 1/2 base times height. Okay, and multiplication has a commutative property, which means you can switch it around. So I don't want to do 1/2 of 5. You could, that's 2.5, but I can do 1/2 of 6 because that works out nicely, which is 3, and 3 times 5 is 15. So that's something I didn't have to put in my calculator because this, 6 is even, so you can take half of that nicely. Okay, so we have 15, and because the base is a triangle, you're going to have 3 sides, 3 lateral faces. So I'm going to do 15 times 3, and that gives me 45. And then for the total surface area, we're going to have the base, which is 10.75, plus all the lateral faces. And we're gonna add those together and we get 55.75 square centimeters. Okay, so the key here of doing these is first identify the object. Identify first if it's a pyramid or a triangular prism. And then if it is a pyramid, decide what the base is first. If it's a square, it's going to be a little bit different. It's going to have 4 lateral sides. And if the base is a triangle, you're going to have 3 lateral sides. And then you have to find the area of all of the sides and then add them up together, and that's called surface area. Okay, that's it. Thanks.